What is up, you guys? Ryan Brewer back here, the host of Michael Myers Reacts, and today I'm here to do another podcast for you guys. Ranking Podcast 7. I'm going to be ranking all the Jason Voorhees masks. But before we get into that, I do want to say that I have a second channel now that is going to be all about horror, just like this channel. And it's going to be all podcasts. It is called Mr. Reacts Podcast. And I'm basically just going to do commentaries over there, do podcasts over horror movies. It's just going to be all podcasts. So if you guys are fans of podcasts, then go over to that channel and subscribe. I will leave a link in the description to that channel because you definitely want to be subscribed if you like commentaries and podcasts. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into my ranking now. I know that almost a lot of the Jason masks kind of look similar or the same, but there are a difference between them, but sometimes there's not big differences. So we are going to be ranking 11 masks today because Jason is in 11 movies, and he's not in the original Friday the 13th, which, if you're a horror fan, you knew that by now. So number one, we're going to go from best to worst. I've been doing that, so we're going to go from best to worst. Number one for me goes to Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. I love that mask. My favorite movie in the franchise. So that's pretty much why it was number one for me. It's my favorite movie in the franchise. And before I go any further, I do want to say that this is my opinion, and I'm only ranking the masks. I'm not really going to be talking about the movies or anything like that. I'm just ranking the masks. Now, the final chapter is my first favorite because it's my favorite movie in the franchise, and the mask looks cool, especially when he gets that machete through the mask and you have that little cut thing. It's pretty cool. Number two on my list goes to Friday the 13th Part 3 because it's simple. That's when he first gets the hockey mask for the first time. And, that's super iconic when he got the hockey mask for the first time in Part 3. That really is the image of Jason Voorhees as the hockey mask. So that was a smart move in Part 3 to have him wear a hockey mask. Because that's, when you think of Jason Voorhees, you think of a hockey mask. So, number two on my list has to go to Part 3, Jason. Number 3 on my list goes to Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. I've always enjoyed that mask. It's also one of my favorite Friday the 13th films. That mask, it was cool. I like how it looked. It just looked really good. And Friday the 13th Part 6 is probably the second Friday the 13th movie I've seen the most. Not Final Chapter is the one I've seen the most, but second to that would probably be Part 6, so that's probably why I like that mask quite a bit. Number 4 on my list has to go to Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, because, everybody loves Kane Hodder as Jason, and the mask looked really cool. I like how it's kind of chipped on the bottom of the mask by the jaw. I thought that was really cool that they try to do something different with the mask because, as you know, at the end of Friday the 13th Part 6, he's in the water at Camp Crystal Lake. So, I mean, I guess you would say the mask would deteriorate a little bit. I don't know. But it's really cool to see the kind of a little bit of Jason's jaw. They definitely did something different with the mask. They didn't keep the same look as like from Part 6 or whatever. And they really never did keep the same look with any Jason mask anyways. But yeah. Part 5. What am I saying Part 5 for? Up next, number 5 on my list has to go to Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I love how they changed the color with this mask. The mask looks more yellowish. Now, I know the movie's not the best in the series, definitely not the best. I know that it's kind of like Jason Takes a Cruise or whatever, but the mask, I like how it was fading, because if you look at the mask in like Part 3 and Part 4, it's a little more white. It's not white, but it's a little more white, and in Part 8, it's just yellow, and I really like that because, he's been under the water. At this point, he's like slimy Jason. So, I love how they made the mask yellow. It's really cool to me. Number 6 on my list has to go to Part 2 Jason. Now, this is the potato sack Jason. I actually like that look. I know I have 5 others above it, but I do like the potato sack Jason. I thought he looked pretty creepy with it. Pretty awesome. I'm glad they didn't keep it, though, because I definitely prefer the hockey mask over the potato sack. But he did look pretty cool in Part 2, so that's why It's number 6 on my list. I guess you can kind of say it's in the middle. Number 7 on my list has to go to Freddy vs. Jason, and the reason why I put this here is because to me, the Freddy vs. Jason mask is just kind of, it's regular, it's basic. It's kind of like the other masks. The only thing different is you got Freddy's claw marks on the mask, which makes it a little more cooler. I like that they did that, but it's really generic to me. Like, when I see that mask, there's nothing about it makes me go, oh, that's like so different. It's just they added Freddy's claw marks on his mask, which is cool, like I said. But number 7 on my list has to go to Freddy vs. Jason. Number 8 on my list goes to Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake. The reason why it's like so low on my list, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are like a big fan of that mask, but when you watch the remake, it almost looks like the mask was too big for the guy's head who played Jason in that. I can't remember his name, but I know someone in the comment section will be like, hey, this is his name. But I felt like the mask was just too big for him. I mean, the mask was just too small for him in the remake. It kind of looked a little bit odd. I mean, it's not super, I mean, it's noticeable, but it's not like super bad. Like, it's not something that like really bothers me, but you can tell that the mask was a little bit smaller for him. Number 9 on my list has to go to Part 5 Jason, and no, it's not because it's not Jason. It's not why it's number 9 on my list. The reason why it's number 9 is because I'm just not a big fan of the blue line look. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't hate the mask, and I don't hate the movie. It's just, I'm just not a fan of that mask. When I first seen Part 5 for the very, very first time years ago, I saw that mask, and I was, like, kind of disappointed. I was like, you're really going to give us this kind of mask, like, with freaking blue lines on it? Like, I don't care about that. It's a stupid-looking mask. And it obviously, it ticked me off at the end when you find out that it's not really Jason. It's the paramedic guy and all that crap. So yeah, number 9 on my list goes to Part 5, Jason. Number 10 on my list has to go to Jason Goes to Hell, Jason, because, I mean, it's kind of cool that, like, his skin or whatever is, like, going over the mask. It's like the mask is getting stuck on his face because he's worn it for so long. But personally, I don't like the way it looks. I never have. When I first seen it, and you can, like, see the mask, like, his skin growing over the mask. When I first seen that, it was just like, that doesn't look cool to me. That looks dumb. And you barely even see Jason as Jason in that movie. I'm not a big fan of that movie at all. I never have been. But the mask just isn't something that I like. Number 11 on my list, last but certainly least, this mask sucks, has to go to Jason X mask. And I'm talking about Uber Jason, not the mask he uses in the beginning. But Uber Jason mask, I do not like it. I don't know if there's, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are fans of that mask. Personally, it's stupid. I mean, you gave Jason a hockey mask all throughout these years, and this time you go to Jason X, you put him in space, so you want to change things up, but you make him not even look like Jason. If you show a new Friday the 13th fan parts, let's say 3 through 8, and then you show him a picture of Jason from Jason X's Uber Jason, they are not going to know that's Jason. If you're like, who is this? They're going to be like, I don't know. Is it Terminator? No, it doesn't look like Jason. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, and I don't know why they made it. The movie sucks. The mask sucks. Just everything about Jason X is bad. No offense. The only thing good about it is Kane Hodder came back to play as Jason, and he does great as Jason. But it wasn't his performance that made it bad. It was the look and the story, and yeah. So yeah, that is my Jason Voorhees mask rankings. If you guys did enjoy my ranking, leave a like and subscribe, and leave your ranking down in the comment section below. I'd like to hear some of your guys' rankings and what you would put above what. Maybe our ranking is the same. I highly doubt it, but leave in the comment section down below what your ranking is, and I will see you guys on the next video.